He was a millionaire turned murderer who killed his entire family on the day of his twins' birthday party. Growing up, Neil Jacobson had strict but loving parents and overall had a happy, normal childhood. But from a young age, Neil did experience anxiety. He felt pressured to be the perfect kid. Neil met and married his wife, Frankie, and everyone said that they were living the dream life. They owned their own successful business, had a really nice house in New Jersey, were well off financially, and were overall just a really happy, great couple. The only thing missing from their perfect life was that the two really wanted to have children, but they were struggling to get pregnant. So when Neil and Frankie had their twin boys, Joshua and Eric, it really felt like a dream come true and that the family couldn't be happier. Neil got really into buying real estate. He bought a bunch of homes and condos in Florida where his parents lived. They were investment properties. He was going to rent them out to people, be a landlord, and make a profit. And then Neil's dad got sick, like really, really sick, and Neil wanted to move his entire family from New Jersey to Florida to be closer to his dad, but his wife, Frankie, didn't want to move. She didn't want to uproot their entire family. But by July 2007, the family had decided that they were going to move, so they rented out their house, they sold their business, and they moved to Florida. But very shortly after that, Neil's dad passed away. Not long after that was the 2008 recession. The economy was terrible, and Neil and his family took a massive hit. They were losing money on all the properties that Neil had bought in Florida. Neil started taking out massive loans, but he couldn't afford the high interest on them. Eventually, the family had spent all of their savings and Neil stopped making the mortgage payments on all of their properties. Pretty much, Neil had made a bunch of really bad financial decisions in a really short amount of time. Neil went from having a net worth of $2.2 million to being $2.3 million in debt in less than 5 years. Neil's mental health was at an all-time low. He was really depressed and anxious because of all these money problems, and eventually he was prescribed medicine for his depression and anxiety. And then Neil started seeing a psychiatrist who upped the doses on all of his medicine, and Neil says that the medicine made his mental health 10 times worse. Neil was now in a deep depression. He stopped sleeping, was maybe getting like 2 hours of sleep a night. Neil began hallucinating. He was seeing things that weren't there. He started hearing voices. He was very depressed and very anxious. He also got super paranoid. Neil convinced himself that the FBI was after him because he lied about his income so he could take out all of those massive loans. He was just so paranoid. He really thought that the FBI was going to come take him and then that they were going to come take his kids away and his entire family was going to suffer because of his mistakes. And still throughout all of this, Neil's wife, Frankie, was still trying to keep the family happy and together. She planned this really nice birthday party for their twin boys for January 23rd, 2010. It was going to be their 7th birthday party, but they would never make it. Because very early that morning, their father, Neil, very calmly walked into his closet where he kept a weapon and then he shot and killed his entire family. His wife, Frankie, woke up beforehand and she saw her husband